drawing a visual representation of why I always make sure that my clients are feeling grounded, centered, and work with their nervous system to have it be calm and regulated before we begin. Not even just before we begin, but on a consistent basis. The center of all that you do has to be you feeling secure, feeling grounded, and feeling incredible. Of course, I'm using the word incredible, but it doesn't mean that every day you feel incredible. I mean, that would be lovely. But incredible is what we're aiming for. It's scientifically proven that when you're feeling positive, you have more energy, you're less likely to be exhausted. And the other thing about the nervous system is really hard to grow and try new things, to adopt new mindsets when you are not feeling safe and when you are not feeling secure. Safe people, or people who are trying to maintain safety, they're not leaving bad circumstances. They're not outgrowing it and moving on. This is what we want to begin with. And then out from there, that's the foundation. And you might be thinking, okay, sure. That sounds great, Rachel. Well, how do I do that? I will link an article that I've done that has some of these aspects of actions you can take, but I'll go ahead and put in here nature time, deep breathing, things that calm your nervous system. Let me just give you a tip here. Being online on social media isn't necessarily gonna do that. What else? Depending on what type of creativity you like, creativity and being in flow can create these things. Getting more sleep, eating good food, all of these types of things. And a big one here, some type of gratitude practice and also some type of compassion practice for yourself. Now, this might look like a lot. So if you're looking at this and you're thinking, yeah, my sleep is bad. I eat bad food all the time. I haven't done anything creative in 6 months. I never take a deep breath. I never get out in nature. I don't have anything to be grateful for, so I don't do that, and I don't have compassion for myself. I get that you could go ahead and look at all these and be like, nope. It's okay. I'm not expecting you to do all of these. Start with 1 or 2 that would be easy. Maybe going to sleep 20 or 30 minutes earlier is the easiest. Maybe taking a 5-minute time out in nature is going to be the easiest. 5 minutes where you're looking at the flowers, you're taking a walk. Oh, I didn't put in here physical activity. It's really important. A lot of these you'll notice relate to the body. And the reason is it's very hard in your mind and in your emotions to feel good if your body is feeling bad. These are some of the things that you can do from there. And I'm going to draw another circle around that. This is super foundational. If you start working with me and let's say half of these things you're not doing, we're not going to get to a lot of other stuff until we've spent some time with you incorporating these things into your life. Because even just doing these little things, and I say that they're little because most of these 10 minutes doing any one of these things, some of them 5 minutes doing these things is going to make a huge difference. 10 minutes more sleep, no, not going to make a huge difference. But 10 minutes of being creative, 10 minutes of nature time, 10 minutes of physical movement, 10 minutes of doing some good food prep, that's going to make a massive difference. Some of the rest of these, 5 minutes of nature time, 5 minutes of deep breathing, even 3 minutes of deep breathing is amazing. I didn't put meditation and mindfulness on here, but those are equally good. Compassion for yourself. 5 minutes of spending some time being compassionate to yourself. 5 minutes of gratitude. Honestly, you could do a minute of compassion, a minute of gratitude, 2 minutes of deep breathing. That's 4 minutes and your day will be radically better if you start doing that every day. I love that some of these don't take that much time. Obviously, getting more sleep, I would want you to aim for starting to add in 30 minutes more if you can. Your next layer here, depending on what your goals are, that would come in later circles. Depending on what your goals are for out here is also going to impact what's in this yellow. But first, I'll just go ahead and put a few things that are a little bit general that will go great in here, that if you start doing these, your life is going to noticeably improve. I'm going to put in here positive self-talk. Now, of course, you could start your positive self-talk when you're still in this zone of the circle. But this is a thing that after you're doing some of these things, this is another layer that we're adding on. Cultivating positive relationships. Now, does that mean every relationship in your life has to be good, positive, and amazing? No. Because depending on where you are right now, you might have a lot of people that doesn't fit with what you're working with. But that's something you're going to start looking to doing. Maybe it's just one person you start spending time with more. I'm going to put +1. Think if you're going to an event. Let's say you find an event this month that you're thinking, you know what? This event relates to my goals. It's something I want to do. It's going to help me to be more creative or start this business or move out of my job or explore another career. See if there's a +1 you can bring with you that'll make you more likely to go to the event, and it'll be more fun when you're there. If you don't have someone who's a +1 that you can bring with you to this event or meet at this event, then make the intention while you're there, I'm going to see, can I try and meet someone else? You can tell yourself, if there's no one who would go with you, then your goal at going to these events, in addition to whatever the event is giving you, is to meet someone who could be your future +1. That next time you have another event that's like this, you can reach back out to them and say, hey, I'm going to this. Do you want to come? Those positive relationships are going to make such a huge impact on your life. Now, you're going to want to identify, and again, this zone is going to be different for each person. Positive small steps. For one of my clients, that's going to be experimenting with the social media content she's making. Each week, she's experimenting with one type of content, one post, one video, one reel, one whatever, that's different than what she's done before. She's not trying to do it every day because that's too much overwhelm. Small steps. So 1 a week. Another client, it's 1 a week of reaching out to someone regarding her work. Another client, it's being compassionate with what is the small steps she's making towards this writing that she's working on and feeling positive about that. Another client, it is looking into new job opportunities, whether that's filling out an application a week or exploring places that could be potential places that she could work in. Again, this zone, it's going to be different depending on what your current circumstances are, but a positive small step. The importance of the small step is that when you're working on this, it's doable on a consistent basis. For most of us, if we have a job, filling out a job application for a new job every day is not doable. But applying to one new job a week is doable. Connecting with one new person a week or going to one event a week might be doable. For some people, one a month is more doable. So maybe you'd find a smaller way to connect if you're building community or building new relationships. So positive self-talk, positive relations, positive small steps. And then the other thing that I'm going to put in here is positive information input, whether that's the books you read, the articles you read, the podcasts or videos you listen to. Noticing that, of course, it's okay to have things that you do that are purely for entertainment. But if you have an area in which you're desiring to grow, then you're going to want to start in one way or another, having positive information that's supportive of where you want to go and what you want to do. That positive information input, I should have put intake. That sounds a little bit more like what we would say. So maybe that's one new podcast a week you listen to. You still get to listen to all the other ones that you like, but you're going to take 30 minutes every week and listen to something new. Maybe you're reading one new chapter a week. And if the chapters are short, maybe one a day. Or maybe you get one of those books that's one of those daily motivational books and you read just a short 1 or 2 paragraphs a day. And that is what is your daily input. Now, this green circle, This is where I am picturing that, and even though we're kind of stair-stepping out and it's a little bit sequential, these all work together. So what I say, this green part, to me, this is where your ecosystem is forming. So that could be the people, that could be the ideas. It's starting to, more so than maybe in some of these other places, it's not feeling disjointed. You're feeling the connections and you're feeling the positive coming together of all of these different things. And honestly, this is sometimes where you really start to see things happening, like progress. Or this is where I find a lot of people start to feel, one way to put it is, I'm on the right path. Or that encouragement of things are working out. So that's another phrase I'll put here. Things are working. Because honestly, with a lot of changes that we could make, let's say each one of these is a 2-week process. So let's say you're like, okay, I'm going to spend 2 weeks just feeling grounded, working with my nervous system, and in super basic ways, doing some of these things here. And then I'm going to spend, 2 weeks adding another thing from this orange zone to my practice. The first 2 weeks, maybe you just do the gratitude and deep breathing. And then 2 weeks after that, you're like, okay, I'm still going to keep up that, but now I'm going to try to get more sleep and do something creative or eat more nutritious food or move, whichever one. So by the time you're getting to this edge of this orange, you're at a month or so of doing these things. So a month or so of building yourself up, of doing this good foundation. Then you start doing these things. And because this circle is bigger, let's just say for 2 weeks, you practice positive self-talk. And then for 2 weeks, you keep up with that and you add a positive relationship. And so what if for each thing in this, you either did 1 for 2 weeks or you did 2 for 2 weeks. So let's say this is somewhere 2 weeks to a month, or maybe 6 weeks. I don't know how much time you have for these things. By the time you get to this green section, you've been doing all of these things for 1 to 2 months, maybe more. That's when you actually start to radically see the differences in your life. Of course, some of these you'll notice small things beforehand. You might notice a 5% improvement or a 10%. You're going to notice little things all along the way, but it's somewhere in the 3 to 4 month range, or maybe even 2 months if you're like super doing a bunch of these things. But typically 3 to 4 months, sometimes 5 months down the road, that's when you're really feeling like, oh yeah, things are cooking. I don't know if this is what you would say. It starts to flow. It's super exciting. And then in this phase, you're maintaining and growing towards your vision and your goals. Honestly, everybody's different, but in the green or blue zone, that's when I have seen people start doing more almost like courageous things related to whatever it is that they are working on. Maybe they are going after bigger projects or putting themselves up to be a speaker at another event, or starting their own business after doing the research and laying the groundwork, launching the thing that they've been working on for a few months. This zone in the 3 to 6 months, I'm giving a large range because it's different for each person. This is where you really see for yourself, and what I've seen is for others, is you really start stepping out into this courageous zone where you're reaching for new things. You're maintaining what you've been doing, you're growing, and it's pretty amazing. Now, even though I did these circles, I feel like they're all interconnected. And then the one thing that I didn't put, which we'll put in the purple part, and again, everybody's different, so these things can happen at different places. In the purple, which can come later but might come earlier, in here I'm going to put manifesting, divine timing, synchronicity, the magic. Sometimes, of course, the magic can show up right here. The magic could show up here. But a lot of times what happens is when you reach this point where all of these other things are built on top of it and built outward from it, this is then when you start to see in this purple zone, you start to see the synchronicity. You start to have the manifesting. You know, you've been doing all of these things for a long enough period and living in a grounded way that's aligned with what you want to do. You're speaking positively to yourself, and all of this is growing out and growing in this beautiful way, and not in a way that's burnout, and not in a way that feels like stretching too much and pushing too hard. You know, I could have put with this positive information input intake, this is also where like having mentors and community is sometimes helpful. And actually with this connections here, community is really helpful in this section too. This is my visual representation for this process of creating change for yourself, making your visions come to fruition. And it's also why when I'm working with people, and I may be working with you, which is maybe why you're watching this, or maybe you're thinking about it, it might seem like we're starting slow. It might seem like we're starting with the basics. But the truth of the matter is, if we don't start with these basics, like this red and this orange, by the time you get to these places, burnout is inevitable, stress is inevitable, and it's very often what happens that this doesn't fit with who you are because you haven't been working with yourself, or maybe you get to this place and you're fine, but then you got to go back and do this anyway. So this is always going to need to be done. I think it's easiest and best to start with that work at the beginning and at the center and work your way out, because it really lets you start from a place of being grounded, and that will serve you in every aspect of your life. If you have questions or want me to clarify some of the aspects of this, I am more than happy to clarify and explain. I look forward to connecting with you more and helping support you to grow. Have a great day. See you in the next video.